today we're going to be talking about my favorite machine, the Qnique 21X Elite. So the fun feature about the 21 is that it does have 21 inches of throat space, which gives you the most room possible for quilting with our machines. It also has some fun features here on our screen. The Elite series does have a larger screen available, and we have some toolbox features. So you can measure your quilt. If we start here in the corner, and we'll start there, and we can hold that and go all the way across. It'll tell you that that is 20.37 inches. And then it also has a calculator for if you're doing some quick measurements on the fly, and bobbin estimator. This one's my favorite. So depending on what bobbin you have, you can set how much is going to be in your bobbin. For our typical bobbins, I set it at 75 yards and it has my name on there. So we're gonna reset it to 0. And now our bobbin is green. Once the bobbin starts to run low, it'll estimate and start to turn yellow, and then when it thinks it's out, it's gonna be at red. So that'll give you some time so you never have to play bobbin chicken, which is great. And then there's an edge warning setting that we can do. We wanna make sure that we're not getting too close to the edge. So what I'm gonna do is go all the way to the corner here and set my top left. And then we'll set my bottom right here on the corner. So now if I get close to the edge at all, the machine will start blinking. So it'll have a red light in here that'll tell me you're getting too far off the edge, you're gonna go off of your quilt, which is great. We also have different stitch modes. We have precise, cruise, manual, and based. All of them have their purpose and their function. My favorite right now is between precise and cruise, but it's important to explore all of the options that your machine has because each stitch has its purpose. So I do have QCT set up here because I wanted to feature how well the 21 handles automation and free motion and ruler work. It can really do it all, and so can you. One of the things I like to do is use the eclipse feature. So what I'm going to plan on doing is taking our background and using QCT to fill that in. And then we'll go into each of these little orange peels and we'll quilt free motion and do some ruler work. So we'll go ahead and pick our pattern. So we'll select here, and I think I just want to put some swirls in the background. So we'll go ahead and put that in, and we'll give it a little bit of extra space and make these guys just a little bit smaller. And I think I like the look of that the best. So this is a continuous line, so we're gonna add in our eclipse. So we're gonna hit here, sew in zones. Now, what I'm gonna do is put my points in. So my top left is gonna be just on the corner here, and I'm gonna mark that as my point A. And we'll say, okay. And then we'll go to our point B, and we'll say, okay. And then I can also mark C and D, so it'll show exactly where I'm at. And these are optional, but I like to do it just for myself to make things easier on me. Perfect. So now we can go to our plugins, and we're gonna go ahead and tap Pattern Eclipse. And I can say I don't want these areas quilted. So we can add a point here, here, and we'll just go all the way around our orange peel here. And add as many or as few points as you need. If it's just a square, you can do your 4 corner points. But because this does have a curved edge, it's a little bit different. And this just tells our software where we're not wanting to sew. All right, so we've got that one. Now we're gonna make a new region. And we'll go up here and add our point. And then we'll add another new region for each of our orange peels. Okay, so our pattern is now eclipsed and we are ready to sew. So we'll go ahead and move the machine closer to the start point. And we'll hit sew. Now the machine is gonna do its own thing. It's gonna get locked in. And it's ready to go. So we'll just hold the bobbin. So it's gonna start sewing and it will eclipse out all of our area that we selected. So it's not gonna run into any of our fun orange peels that we have here. Okay, so as it comes around here, you can see the pattern just goes right around this orange peel. Doesn't come right up into it. We've set those points so it's perfect. And we'll see how it does on this one. Yep, so it goes right up to the edge where we set it. Doesn't even phase the machine. If you wanted to, you could also have the machine stitch in the ditch in those places that you eclipsed out. I've chosen not to do that because we are going to go back in and do some ruler work that will feature that as well. We also have a lot of seams here because of the way I chose to sew these orange peels, but the glide foot, it handles it just fine. It's designed to go over your seams smoothly and without any problems. So you'll watch as it goes through all of these piecing seams that it will glide right over the way it's supposed to. Now we're coming to an area with a ton of seams, so you can watch as this glide foot goes right around. Zero hesitation, it doesn't get stuck on anything, there's no snagging. It just glides right over all of these seams. Okay, so we've come to our first stop point, and I'm gonna take a few minutes just to talk about what to do. So we're gonna move over to our next point once we clip our thread. So what I wanna do is to make sure I don't have any bobbin threads going around. We're gonna go ahead and release the carriage, move it back, stick our finger under this thread, and come right back down to where we were. And we're gonna go ahead and hit single stitch on our screen here. So I'll grab my little scissors and we'll go ahead and trim that up. And now we can move to next. So the machine is gonna move to the next point that we're ready to start on so we can sew these kind of funky areas. And it's gonna come right here. And we're gonna go ahead and pull up the bobbin. So you can use the pull bobbin button, or you can do what I like to do and just do a single stitch. And we're gonna feed that piece of thread underneath there, and we've pulled up our bobbin. We can go ahead and hit sew. And while that's going, I'm just gonna trim it up right there. You can always hit stop to do that as well. If you don't feel comfortable just tapping the scissors, you're good. Our background is done. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna close out of our QCT software, and I'm just gonna close off my tablet here. And we're gonna go ahead and unplug it and loosen our belts. to attach your ruler base, you're going to take off your foot. Just pull that out there. Slide that right on. We'll go ahead and put our ruler foot on, and we will go ahead and slide this under here. And now we're going to get ready for some ruler work. So we'll come across here, and I just want this to be right on the edge. So I'm going to come up about 1/4 inch, and we can go ahead and start sewing. And you just want to use your ruler to make sure it's easier to stitch in the ditch. Come down, and we'll bring this right back around. Okay, and we're about 1/4 inch, so we can go ahead and hit start. And we'll follow right along where the QCT was. That'll be helpful here. Come up for our edge. Now we can go in with some free motion work, and we're just going to do some swirls. I love a good loopy meander. It can be whatever you want it to be. You just want to fill the space. Kind of like you're doodling. This is a good step if you're looking to get into learning how to do pebbles. A good loopy meander will help you with learning those movements as well. So we can do some loops here. And we'll pop back out at the other side. So now we have our table runner quilted. I did want to show one last technique, and that is adding your binding to your quilt. It's kind of a fun thing that is a modern twist, but it's a good opportunity to use your long arm to take a lot of the guesswork out. While you've got it straight and on the frame, it makes it really simple. So to do this method, what you're going to do is fold down at a 90-degree angle this piece right here. And this will allow you to tuck the other end into it. And I am going to bring my machine around, bring up my bobbin right here. And in using our ruler foot, it does have a 1/4 inch all the way around it. So you can line your fabric up and sew right on that 1/4 inch. And we're just going to sew for a little bit here. I'll give myself a little bit of extra room for that tail. And now I can fold this back down, and I can start to sew. And we can go right here, bring the bobbin up. And go all the way around. And you can still do your mitered corners with this. It's a really simple, easy way to attach binding while you're on the frame still. And we're gonna do the mitered corner. So we'll flip it up, make sure that it's at that 90 degrees, and bring it back down so that you'll have a good miter. Bring the machine right back over and come down this edge here. Now your binding is attached, it's ready to flip over, and you are good to go. We can take it off the frame, trim our edges, and it's nice and easy. We hope you've enjoyed this segment and enjoy the rest of your fall festival.